Hey guys, welcome back to As Told by Kenya. On my channel on Tuesdays, I'm gonna do like episode breakdowns of whatever the hell I'm watching, whether it be Real Housewives of Atlanta, whether it be something else, whatever I'm watching on TV, I'm going to come and talk to you guys about it probably on Tuesday. So, you guys, I actually did catch last Sunday's episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, and as you can tell by the title, y'all are just going to have to give this show to God. This show as it is just does not work. I am so tired of talking about what can make this show work, who can come back, who should stay. It just does not work. You guys, The Real Housewives of Orange County, which I am an apologist for and have always been an apologist for. The Real Housewives, I feel like if you're a Housewives fan, everyone has one Housewives installment that they like love even when it's terrible. Mine is The Real Housewives of Orange County. I already told you guys Tamra is like I make apologies for Tamra. Tamra is my problematic fave. I love Tamra. And so the fact that Tamra is back on Orange County, like I'm there. And the fact that Orange County is just more entertaining than The Real Housewives of Atlanta in 2023 is absolutely insane. But The Real Housewives of Atlanta just does not work anymore. There's just no way to make this configuration of the girls work. I don't think the new girls and the old girls, like they just don't gel well. The best way to describe what I think is the issue with this show is there's no movement. There's no fluidity. Like the show just doesn't bounce. When you're watching a good season of Housewives, whether it be any city, the show has a bounce to it. It has a swag to it. It has something to it that keeps you there. It's so fun. It's so jovial. That is what makes it like reality TV good, when it just feels like things are moving and shaking. Real Housewives of Atlanta in this current season, in the past two seasons, just feels so stale. It feels so tired. Every single scene feels like it just takes so much out of everyone involved to be there. It's just not working as it is. And I just think it needs a soft reboot. And when I say a soft reboot, the reason why I do say soft is I actually don't believe everyone should go. I think we should have someone still there from the old cast, so a soft reboot. But like the dynamics have to completely shift. It doesn't work. And even the fandom that comes along with Real Housewives of Atlanta, I think that doesn't work either, because it's obvious Kenya and Kandi are always going to have the most amount of fans. They've been there the longest. They've built a rapport with the fans. So people are always going to be on Kandi and Kenya's side over any of the newbies, because y'all know Kandi and Kenya. And so like, no one can really say anything against Kandi and Kenya without the fans being like, you fucking suck, when it's really just not that serious. It's just people are fans of Kandi and Kenya. So I even think the fan dynamic, like it's not fun to talk about Real Housewives of Atlanta with fans, because the Real Housewives of Atlanta fans are just filled with a bunch of Kandi and Kenya lovers, and those have never been my two faves. And so it's just like, what am I, like y'all just love Kandi and Kenya down, because who else is there to love down? They're the only legacy people, and Sheree's there, but Sheree been kicked off this show so many goddamn times. Like they're the only legacy people to be a fan of. So I get why people are a fan of them. It's just like they're not interesting characters. And so that's what starts me with this. Kandi and Kenya, I am so sorry. Kandi and Kenya just do not work as the leaders of a franchise. It's so funny because Kenya has such a big personality. Kenya is so interesting in her own right. And Kandi has been here for a long time. And Kandi has given us some of the best storylines that this show has offered. Season 6 of Atlanta is so good because of what Kandi brought to the table. I do not agree with Marlo when she says that Kandi doesn't give to the show. Kandi has given so much to the show, and that's why I think Kandi's it's time to bring it to a close, because Kandi has given so much to the show. There's no more to give. Kandi and Kenya are at their best when someone else is in charge of the girls. When someone else is in charge of the girls, that is when Kandi and Kenya are at their best. They are good B characters. They are good B characters. Kenya is a perfect foil. Have someone who is on the up and up, someone who everyone loves. Kenya is the perfect fall for them. Kenya can be fun as a villain. Kenya can be fun as an anti-hero. Kenya has so many things that make her a good character on the show. But just being Kenya, like, hey, Kenya just as is, she has nothing to offer to the show if she is not in opposition with someone. And I think Kenya thinks that herself, that she's not good. And that's why you're seeing this soft rollout of Portia. There's 100% a soft rollout of Portia coming in next season. But how many times do we need to see Kenya and Portia fight for the umpteenth time? It's just late. And it's just because Kenya, I don't think, can hold a show as the number one ticket. That has never been Kenya. I think Atlanta as a show is at its best when everyone is coming together in an ensemble. That's what makes these Housewives shows so amazing, to see what can happen in an ensemble, everyone coming together to make something work. It's the same way I love Tamara on Real Housewives of Orange County. She's one of my favorite housewives. Tamara is also not great as the main girl. Tamara needs someone else to be, she needs to be a foil of someone. That's just some people's character. Luann from New York City is also one of my favorite housewives of all time. She is the perfect B characters. I love B characters on Housewives season. I think they're perfect because they are the ones who actually keep it going. So I'm not shitting on Kenya when I call her a B character, but Kenya needs someone to play off of, whether it be a Nene, whether it be a Portia, and she does not have that. She does not have that other player to play off of. So she's useless here. She's useless here. And then you have Kenya doesn't want to give y'all none of her personal business. And here's the thing. Are we owed any of Kenya's personal life? No. But she's on a television show and she's going through a really she's going through a very rough divorce. Braces ain't getting that word out. She's going through a very rough divorce. Therefore, I would love to know what's going on in it, but she's not going to give you that. And she feels like she's paid her dues, so she don't have to give you that. So where does that leave Kenya? I did like the fertility stuff. I always like people discussing fertility and black women on TV. But what does Kenya have to do on this show? Absolutely nothing. Kenya wants to be at home taking care of Brooklyn. And the thing is, that's just not interesting. Brooklyn is as cute as can be, but it's just not interesting. I think Kenya's time here is just up, unless there's different characters, and the new characters just don't vibe well with Kenya. They don't want to go up against Kenya. There's nothing to go up against Kenya with. There's just not enough history there, you know? And so it's just like, what are we doing here? Then you got the Candy of it all. Candy is just as is a boring person. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think we all want to get to a place where Candy is in her life, where she's successful. She has her family, she has her money, and she can be boring. The problem with that is what are we here to do? And I think the biggest thing about Candy is, and y'all can drag me for it, Candy does not respect a single person on that show. I'm going to say it, and maybe it's not true. I don't think Candy fully respects a single person on that show, and it reads on her face. Candy does not see these girls as on her level. Candy does not want to have any actual, real relationships with anyone on this show. Candy sees this as a job. She sees these girls as disposable. She does not give a damn what any of them girls got to say about her, and she don't give a damn what she got to say about them girls. Candy does not care because Candy believes that she is above those girls. And you know what? Let her believe that. But the problem with it is Candy looks annoyed in every single scene that she's in. Candy looks annoyed at every single scene that she's in. I actually want to say I enjoyed the Gucci episode, the Gucci brunch episode. I thought it was a perfectly good episode of Housewives. The problem is, if this is what all y'all got, if this is the best y'all can do, I don't know what to tell you, but I enjoyed the Gucci brunch. That's what this show is made of, right? But Candy don't want to be there. Candy does not want to be there. Candy, and then the mess that they're pulling Candy into is also stupid. And so it's just what is Candy doing here? The thing is, when you really think about it, if Marlo and her fucking antics wasn't bringing Candy into nothing, what else would Candy be goddamn doing? What else would Candy be goddamn doing? She also still would have nothing to do. Candy does not have anything else to offer this show, if you ask me. Candy's best dynamics were with the other girls, but I also want to cut Candy some slack in some way. I think with everything that happened with Portia and Phaedra, Candy has 100% put up a wall with the ladies. Candy was very vulnerable in the beginning, and she made friends on the show. Her and Phaedra were best friends. Like, they had a real relationship going on. Todd and Apollo got very, very close. And I think everything that happened with that, the trauma that happens with your friend lying on you, with Phaedra, Apollo going to jail, and all of that, I think Candy has put up a wall, and she's like, I need to see this for what this is, reality TV, and she treats it as such. She's just not that invested in anything. And I don't think you can fault Candy for that. But like, if I say it's boring, it's boring. It's not good. Candy does not make for good television. We get the same storyline of like her being a workaholic. Candy is always going to be a workaholic. If you let me tell it, as long as Candy got to pay everybody bills, she is responsible for everyone around her eating. She is going to have to keep working. Like, how else is she going to stop working in the whole candy coated clique eat off her? Like, it just is what it is. And so she don't have no respect for none of them ladies on there. She has no reason to have no respect for any respect for any of them ladies on there. She don't owe them nothing. And so it gives that. Candy does not care. They can rope her into anything, and Candy simply does not care. But it doesn't make for good TV. Even Candy being upset with Sonya, at Sonya being friends with Marlo, it's just like, in theory, is it really that bad that Sonya is friends with Marlo? Like, no. But the thing is, it's the same way I don't think Candy would ever say anything against Kenya. Sonya's not saying anything against Marlo. Like, they're in cahoots. Like, that's the show. They're in cahoots. The same way when Phaedra was being, low down and nasty when she was friends with Candy, Candy didn't go against Phaedra. Like, that's just how it is sometimes. Cynthia never really went against Nene. Like, you have the people who you are in cahoots with, and that's just how it works. But like, Candy being like, so don't say nothing about me, it's because she doesn't believe these girls should have any space to say nothing about her. Like, y'all get to say something about me. It's no different than I was watching Candy speak on it, and she was talking about how Sonya said that she wanted if she could like get some people off the show, and she didn't say it like this, but she was like, if she could be on the show with anyone, she didn't choose Candy or Kenya. And Candy was like, you don't want to be on the show with me? Well, let's say what the people saying about you. And it's just like, you see that when your back is into the wall and someone says something about you, it really shows how you really feel about people. Like, you think you don't want, like, you have no respect for Sonya. Like, it's easy to be like, oh, Sonya's cool when Sonya's not saying anything against you. But when Sonya is saying something you're not okay with, you're quick to be like, fuck you, Sonya. People don't want you on this show anyway. Watch your fucking mouth before you don't got a job. You get what I'm saying? And that's just like, because you don't have no respect for them. And I think that comes out in Candy's demeanor. But I think it's been this way for a while, honestly. I don't ever think Candy never had no respect for Portia. Like, I just don't think, I think Candy always had respect for Nene because of what Nene was able to build. I don't think you can be on Real Housewives of Atlanta and not respect what Nene was able to turn Real Housewives of Atlanta into. But like, Candy don't want to be there. Candy don't want to be there. So it's like, why should she be there? I think that's I don't think Kenya and Candy should be on the show. And then it brings us into the new girlies. Okay, so we're going to use Sheree as a new girly because, I mean, she get fired every 2 days. But I thought Sheree was good in the Gucci episode. I think Sheree at her best is when Sheree is just unbothered. Sheree should be the Karen on Potomac. That's what Sheree should be for Atlanta. She should just be kind of like, I'm the old lady here. I'm going to just, try to get everyone to come together. Yes, people can come for me. I can act like I do not care. Sheree is at her worst when she's chaos because Sheree doesn't operate well in chaos. She stumbles over her words. She lies. She don't make no damn sense. Sheree is at her best when she's being a mediator, and I thought she was good in the Gucci episode. So, like, if Sheree can continue to do that, that's fair, but Sheree is a self-saboteur. She is going to get in her way every single time, and she's always going to do too goddamn much. So Sheree has to go, and I don't think we should bring Sheree back. The next thing we have is Marlo. Marlo is not working. I want Marlo to work on this show so bad, but Marlo is not working because Marlo has too many demons in her closet. Marlo is trying to outrun demons. Marlo is trying to outrun not being enough. For so long, when Real Housewives of Atlanta was at its peak, always the bridesmaid, never the bride, right? That was Marlo. She can never get a peach. She was always starting mess for nothing. You know, like for $2, she was willing to, say Kenya ain't got no mama. Like just saying the worst awful things for absolutely nothing. And I think now that Marlo is older, she is still trying to outrun that. And she's still trying to prove that she belongs here. But the problem is, Marlo, you have to ask yourself why you want Candy and Kenya to like you so damn much. I would not give half a shit if Candy and Kenya like me. But the thing is, I think Sheree, Sonya, and Marlo have all come to this conclusion that they're not going to feed into Kenya and Candy thinking they the HBICs. But the problem is y'all doing it in the wrong way. Y'all making them seem more important than they are. They don't want to kiss the ring, but they also are doing all types of stupid things to almost put validity to Kenya and Candy being the HBIC. You're trying to be I'm gonna start mess with Kenya and Candy, but it's the real power move would be to have your own storylines, to do your own shit, go on your own little girls trip, go to your own little brunches, and don't invite them and make the show good like that. That would prove something. That would prove hey, we actually don't need y'all to make a good show. But constantly making y'all storylines about how much y'all don't give a shit about Kenya and Candy and how y'all will go against them and y'all say how they feel and y'all gonna make them clock into work. It just seems desperate. It just seems really, really desperate. And it seems like y'all want their validation more than you want anything else. And it looks ugly because it's Marlo, what do you really need Kenya's validation for? And that's the thing about this show. It does seem like Kenya and Candy are higher than everyone because they've been there for so long. But at the end of the day, we all on the same goddamn show. It don't matter how you got here. It don't matter how much money you getting paid. It don't matter, what you did before. We are all sitting at the same brunch table at Toast. So therefore, you can't tell me shit. But Marlo does not feel good about herself. And for some reason, it is Kenya who is able to bring that out of her so much. Kenya brings out a lot of insecurity in Marlo, and I do not get it because Marlo doesn't bring out that same insecurity and Kenya. So I do, and the thing is, I think in some ways Kenya is able to relate to Marlo. I think in the earlier seasons, after Kenya's initial season, so when season 6 started, you saw Kenya kind of feel that same way. She was being exiled. No one had any respect for her. After the stuff, people saying she was texting Apollo, no one really liking her, or when Portia dragged her on stage and no one even felt bad for Kenya. You had Kenya feeling whoa, these people don't fucking like me. But you saw Kenya almost try to make up for it. Kenya tried to be a nicer person. Yes, she went back to her old ways every now and then. But Marlo doesn't become a better person after this. I think Marlo just has a very dark spirit. It just is. And Marlo's been through a lot. I think you can explain Marlo, but you can't excuse Marlo. Marlo does some very she says some very terrible things about people, and it makes Marlo bad TV because Marlo is never vulnerable enough for you to be oh, this is why you act this way. But she's also not shady and fun enough for you to be on board for her meanness. You know what I'm saying? When Marlo gets mean, she gets really, really nasty. Back to her saying Ken ain't got no mama. That's really, really mean. She says really, really awful things about people, and it's just no one wants to be a part of that. Even this stupid storyline about her nephew being killed, may he rest. It's just this is real shit. Your real nephew is no longer alive. You have a sister who is grieving, and you're using this to come at Candy about. Candy is not the reason why your loved one is not here, and does Candy owe you flowers? It's just not coming off as genuine. I said, she's never vulnerable enough, so it just doesn't feel real. Marlo just simply is not working. If Marlo would just step back and stop worrying about the rest of the ladies and if she would have allowed herself to get an actual introduction to the show and explain herself, explain how she lives, explain what she has, she could be a good housewife. I just think that ship has sailed. Marlo, I think she kind of made her bed and now she has to lay in it. And what it's left is, I think it's going to be a pink slip. I think what's going to get left in the bed is a pink slip, doll. Like, it's just not working this season. You're trying too hard. It's coming off as mean-spirited, and it's just not working. Now, let's go into two people I actually think work. And y'all gonna say, Kenya, you're just a Drew apologist, and maybe that's what I am. Drew works. I am so sorry. Drew is not a good A character, and maybe Drew is not even a good B character, but if you're gonna have like a 6-woman show, Drew is a perfect number 5. Drew is a perfect sit on the edge of the couch during a reunion. Maybe not be in every single episode, but be on every group trip. Have a confessional in every episode. Like, Drew is a good 5th girl on a show. I am so sorry. If I said this show needs a soft reboot, if this show gets a soft reboot, it should get it through a Drew staying. I am so sorry. I think just this dynamic of ladies doesn't work for Drew, because I just don't think, I think Drew is like stuck between a rock and a hard place, because like she doesn't want to be down with the Sonyas and them because they corny as fuck, but then she also can't hang with the big dogs because like Drew don't got enough dip on her chip for that, so she can't really hang with Candy and Kenya too well. So I just don't think she vibes with this dynamic. I think in a different, because remember when Portia was on here, I thought Drew and Portia had a good dynamic. That's what Drew is perfect for. Drew needs like a fun it girl to play off of, and I don't think this show has any it girls. Like, I think Portia is an it girl. I think this show needs a fun it girl for Drew to play off of. A few fun it girls, and I think Drew would be perfect. I think Drew is the perfect like middle that this show is looking for. I think it needs to cast more Drew characters. Drew has an interesting personal life. I think the thing that's holding back Drew showing a lot of her personal life is nobody else fucking does. Who else on this show is giving anything about their personal life? Sheree in a fake relationship with Martell. Key not saying nothing about her personal life. Candy is over there like with the same storyline every goddamn season. Like, why the fuck should Marlo don't say nothing about her life? So why should Drew be the one to say something about her personal life? And Drew gave so much of her personal life the first 2 seasons. We saw Ralph acting the ass, and what the hell is Ralph doing in Tampa Bay? So we've seen so much of Drew, and I think this season Drew kind of was like, I've given y'all enough. But I think with other people giving their personal life, Drew would be perfect. I am so sorry. I think Drew works. I think Drew works. I think in a different dynamic, Drew could be great for the show. Drew is a good housewife. Drew is a liar. Drew is a snake. Drew is two-faced. Drew has a good personal life. She works. She gets caught in her life. She's not even good at covering up the life, but she also knows how to make nice with girls she does not like. She knows how to stand up for herself. Does she do it well? Not so much, but she's gonna at least try. I think Drew works. I think Drew works. Now, this is the one you're going to have to see me on. I don't like any of the friends of the shows. Monietta, the real villain, I don't like Monietta. Monietta is like the Candy friend. I do not like her. I think she's trying too hard to be on. It doesn't work. It seems like there's a battery in her back. Like, everything she does doesn't come off as genuine. It seems like she just wants to be on the show. That Monietta girl does not work. Chop that shit. I'm sorry. I don't need anyone Candy-coded clique affiliated on this show. We also don't need more people in Candy's corner. Candy has so many people in her goddamn corner. The whole Candy-coded clique be on here. Ty be on here. Kenya kiss Candy ass. Like, everybody is kissing goddamn Candy ass. Like, I'm so sorry. I don't need to see no more of it. Now, that doesn't take away the fact I hate on this show when people try to paint Candy out to be a bad person. I have my critiques of Candy. Like I said, I think Candy 100% believes she's better than everybody on this show, and she has an air about her. But I say the same thing on her the show she did with SWV. She thinks she's better than the rest of her group members, and that's her prerogative. But I don't like when people paint Candy out to be a bad person. Even in my like Candy is not good on reality TV anymore, it doesn't take away from the fact that I think Candy is a solid person. I think Candy would do anything for any of them at any given moment. Even with Marlo treating Candy the way that Marlo treats Candy, I think if Marlo needed $10,000 from Candy right now to not get evicted from her home, Candy would give it to her. I just do not believe Candy at the heart of her is a bad person. So when people try to paint Candy out as a bad person, I don't like it because it doesn't ring true. It just simply doesn't ring true that Candy is just like this terrible person. I do not believe that. I just think Kandi on Real Housewives of Atlanta is just not that interesting. Moving on. Sonya's a chop. Sonya is a chop because Sonya doesn't understand the politics of Housewives. She doesn't understand that, like, what is she gaining running after Marlo? I don't have an issue with Sonya being friends with Marlo. Like, somebody gotta be, right? The problem is Sonya is doing it, like, weirdly. Like, I think someone should play the middle. Like, there's no reason for Sonya to pick a side between Marlo and Kandi, especially because what they're arguing about is so fucking stupid. But she's picking a side, and she's picking Marlo's side, but Marlo's fucking dead wrong. Like, hitting Kenya's hotel door, like, that's just not necessary. And so you're picking a side, and you're picking the wrong side. Like, it's just not. I'm happy to see girls not come in and fall behind, you know, the head girls, Kenya and Kandi, but, like, it almost feels like you're trying to make a name for yourself, but, like, in all the wrong ways. Sonya didn't work since the first season she came in when she picked that fight with Drew. She doesn't understand the politics of the show. And then she's a flip-flopper, which is the worst thing you can be on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Instead of being neutral and taking in everyone's tea and, you know, dishing it out, you know, evenly, she is just whatever. When she's with Kandi, it's like, fuck Marlo, like, ha 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 ha, let me laugh at you shading Marlo. And then when she's with Marlo, let me laugh at you shading Kenya. And it's just like, you two-faced, instead of just being like, you know what, both of y'all arguing over some silly, stupid ass shit. I'm Kandi, I'm not gonna pick a side because I think this is fucking dumb and I like Marlo. I'm not about to sit up here and carry on with you about this Kandi shit because it's fucking dumb. Instead of just saying that, she's like laughing and giggling with whoever she's with. And it just comes across as fake. It just comes across as you are trying way too hard. And it doesn't make it any better when Sonya is confronted about her bullshit. She can't even stand in it 10 toes. So Sonya just simply does not work on this show. And those are the ladies. The show just doesn't work. Production is bad. I think the fact that this show has no fluidity, no mood, it's 100% a production issue. This show feels stale. It feels dark, it lacks in fun. The best part of the last episode that I think production did a good job was Marlo's fashion corner. Marlo was breaking apart the fashion. That was fun. That was good fun. But other than that, it just seems so boring and so dry. So y'all gotta give this show to God. It's not gonna work. I'm so sorry. I can keep coming up with different dynamics for this show, but it's never gonna work because all of these girls need to be gone. Yeah, I say Drew and Courtney work, but, like, I wouldn't lose no sleep if they was gone too. Like, it doesn't work. We need a new, fresh set of girls or give this show up. There's just not enough going on. It's not. And for all you Kandi and Kenya fans who just love them so, follow them to their own TV show. I have nothing against those girls. Give them their own TV shows. Let Kenya and Kandi have their own show together. I don't know. Follow them there. But, like, on this type of show, it just simply doesn't work. And we keep trying to reconfigure some things. Are Portia and Eva coming back next season? I think Portia is definitely coming back next season. Lord knows, at least for ratings, they fucking need her. And that's so crazy that we're begging Portia to come back for ratings. Remember when Portia was a B-girly? When Portia was the B-girly? But at this point, it's just like, what else can you do? But at least I think a Portia-Drew dynamic would be interesting. I don't know. It just doesn't work. The show just does not work. It is boring. And then I think this fandom also has this idea of toxic positivity. When you talk about how bad this show is, the Kandi and Kenya apologists come out in full force. It's just like, y'all are getting in the way of a show being good. Y'all are so up those two women's asses that y'all are getting in the way of this show being good. I don't even think Kenya and Kandi think this show is good. I don't even think they think this show is good. So why are y'all defending them? So I have nothing against those two ladies. This show's not that good and they don't make good TV anymore. Because I think they're in good places. Isn't that what you want? Isn't that what you want, to be in a better place where you don't have to exploit your personal life for pay? That's where they're at. And I just think, give it to God. This show needs to be given to God. But that doesn't change the fact, I thought Sunday's episode was cute. I thought Sunday's episode was pretty cute. I enjoyed the Brent scene. I enjoyed Sheree getting the girls together. There were some dynamics there that were interesting. It just sucked that at the root of it is a bunch of bullshit. And a dead person. A bunch of bullshit and a dead person is at the root of it. Don't nobody want to see that. So yeah, give it to God. Real Housewives of Atlanta is a chop. And it has been. Like, come on. Monyetta is who y'all want me to give a peach to next season. She is so late. Like, I'm sorry, nothing works. Like, it just doesn't work. Oh my God. The candy coated click don't work. Like, ugh. No, I don't like it.